Locked on Rockies, it's official. The season will not start on time. Games have been canceled. What does that mean for baseball? And what does that mean for the Colorado Rockies?
You are Locked on Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked on Rockies podcast for today, the second day of March, the fallout of a dark day in baseball, which was the first day of March. I'm Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinary. You can also catch me on the airwaves here in working with a bunch of different radio stations here and across the country. We've been rocking on the Locked on Rockies podcast for just a little under a year now, here with me at the helm, and we've had a ton of fun, even though it's been quite a ride here as we've gone through this offseason. And it's all led up to this, folks. And we are going to hear from Rob Manfred himself on the show today. Got some clips from his press conference we're going to talk about. Going to talk about the fact that a deal was not reached and baseball games have been canceled. And, just to keep us to a little bit more up in spirits, something that's, to at least talk about some Rockies baseball. We're going to see how the Rockies bullpen compares to the rest of the division. But let's hear from the man himself.
The calendar dictates that we're not going to be able to play the first two series of the regular season, and those games are officially canceled.
That is MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred officially announcing that the first two series of the Major League Baseball season are done. Kaputs, canceled, because the owner-imposed deadline has passed on the owner-imposed lockout and the owner-imposed rule that the deal needed to be done by yesterday after they punted their first deadline to yesterday. And then now the first two series of the Rockies season are canceled. That means this for players. Just let me get to this real quick. Got to get here we go. This is what players are facing.
Yeah, I think that our position is that games that are not played, players will not get paid for.
There you go. That's what you were looking for. The perfect right hook, the uppercut. There you go. The players aren't going to get paid. I wonder if anyone else is going to get paid. I wonder if any of the other people that are involved with baseball and spring training being messed up and all the other baseball operations, I wonder if they're being paid. Oh, wait. I'm going to say no. But do owners get to still make money off of their teams right now and the brand? Is the Major League Baseball store still open? Did MLB TV still charge you at the beginning of this week if you didn't turn off your auto renew for the season that's not happening for full price, mind you, full price, no cuts, no benefits, no nothing? Huh. Interesting. But here, don't worry though. Rob Manfred and the owners say this though to us, the fans.
The clubs and our owners fully understand just how important it is to our millions of fans that we get the game on the field as soon as possible.
Oh, okay. Is it really? Right now, you canceled games. You canceled games. Is that the most important part of the fan experience? Not postponed, canceled, kaputs. That is no money for anybody. That is two less series of baseball that people get to go to, let alone all the people that are waiting to go to baseball in the spring training sites. Do you actually care about the fans? And I'm curious, and please tell me, if you're listening to the podcast and if you're tired of my rants, I am curious. When you hear this,
the clubs and our owners fully understand just how important it is to our millions of fans that we get the game on the field as soon as possible.
Do you actually believe that? Have the actions of the owners in these negotiations and in the past few years during the pandemic, everything, has that been the case? I don't think so. If they cared about fans, negotiations wouldn't stall. If they cared about fans, they'd be willing to bend on more things. There have been negotiations, but there have been lots of big money moves that have not been made by the owners. The owners have not wanted to budge on luxury taxes. The owners have not wanted to actually give up their power. The owners want to continue to make more and more and more and more. And they want to do it in all the sports. Folks, we don't need to just sit there and get frustrated at this point. At this point, you need to dig your feet in the ground and not let Manfred and these clowns sit there and tell you that this is the players' fault, that this is just them not willing to negotiate. All of this stuff that we're hearing about deals being closed, you were lied to. You were lied to by Major League Baseball. They leaked out stuff saying they were closer to a deal than they were. They're trying to make it seem like the players are doing this. They're making sure that press coverage comes out that the big players that are the best of the best are arriving to the businesses or to the meetings in their nice cars, while owners are flying private jets and have 3 times the net worth of these people. If the owners truly cared about the fans and if the owners truly cared about their businesses, they would be more willing to make things happen, because there are so many more people that are impacted just because the owners don't want to give up their slice of the pie. And I might not be giving you the most in-depth, here's the numbers, here's this, here's that. Go look for yourselves and just look at the world in the past 2 years. And in the pandemic season and now, has Dick Mumford, the owner of the Colorado Rockies, respected you as a Rockies fan? And if you think so, then that's fine. Tell me. Put it in the comments. Tweet at me. I'm serious. Tell me. If you out there, maybe you're not a Rockies fan. Maybe you like baseball. You're listening to all the great Locked On Network or podcasts. Which, by the way, we thank you for making Locked On Rockies your first listen of the day. What a terrible transition right there. But seriously, when you hear Manfred tell you that the fans are so important and this and that, do you believe that? Has the owner of your baseball team made you believe that that they as an owner care about baseball, that they care about the baseball product? Because Rockies fans cannot say that. You can say it about the experience, about the environment, about the area. Yeah, Coors Field's a great place to go catch a ball game. But has Dick Mumford's actions at these negotiations, remember his role in this whole thing, and in the past few years, make you believe in this?
The clubs and our owners fully understand just how important it is to our millions of fans that we get the game on the field as soon as possible.
Why are we canceling games? If the goal is to get them on the field as soon as possible, why are we canceling games? Do we need to cancel the games? But it's not even games being canceled. It's just a matter of, this is all the owners. The owners have a huge role in this. But to sit there and just act like that's not the case is so incredibly frustrating. I just don't believe it. I don't believe Rob Manfred. I don't believe Dick Mumford. I just simply don't. It's frustrating. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? How else are we supposed to feel? At the end of the day, people don't get to go to work that rely on this to go to work. They don't get their slice. The players don't get their slice, and the fans don't get their slice. Because at the end of the day, the owners want the biggest slice. They want the biggest, the most profitable, the most lucrative, the biggest slice of the pie. So they can already add to their tremendously huge slice of the pie in real life. I don't believe Rob Manfred and Dick Mumford care about the fans as much as they say. I don't. One more clip. I want to go and talk one more thing that Rob Manfred had to say. Closing thoughts, and then we're going to get on to some we're going to talk about the team. We're just going to dive in. It's the talk of baseball. I struggle sometimes with this topic because I'm giving you the perspective, I think, as the fan. I'm diving in, I'm learning more. I'm not a business major. I'm not a business guy. When I see all these numbers being thrown around about luxury taxes and this and that and blah 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 blah, blah, I get bogged down. So I can relate to the people that think it's just a lot of money. It's a lot of really wealthy people are arguing over a lot of money, but I just don't see it that way. At its core, I see this as really, really wealthy, powerful people want to continue to dominate and control an industry in which they profit greatly from, off the backs of people that have dedicated their entire lives to being as good as they are at this thing. And some of them are paid really, really well. And they are celebrities and their status is huge. But a ton more don't get paid the same level, don't live the same lifestyle, don't have the same access, don't have the same reality that fans think that all baseball players get. Not every baseball player is Max Scherzer. Not every baseball player is treated like Max Scherzer. I want the owners to fully commit to an organization from major leagues to lowest A with their slice of the pie. And I want them to commit to it. And I want them to commit to their players. I want them to commit to their employees. I want them to commit to what a baseball team, a sports team can and truly should be. And I guarantee you the owners will still be able to make plenty of money. And at the end of the day, if it's not enough money for them, flip the team for $1 billion right now. Any owner could flip their team for profit right now. Not every baseball player is going to be able to make it through not having access to their facilities, not having access to their coaches, not having access to their pay, not having access to these things because of the owner-imposed lockout. The quality of the game is going to suffer in 2022. And the owners will sit and point and point and point and point and point and point, but they won't point at themselves. And it's a bunch of BS. Okay, one more clip. I got off another tangent, but first, there are some folks that make this show possible, and I got to tell you about them, and that includes BetOnline.net. Football might be over for this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline.net is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot. Yes, folks, the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds, and eventually baseball, if we ever get it again. Head to the website today or use your mobile device. Yeah, that's right. Just pop open that mobile device, boop, 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 and learn more about the trends in action, because BetOnline is the number one spot for all the trends in action for your betting needs. Head to betonline.net. BetOnline, where the game starts. I got one more clip from Manfred that I want to play. And some of the details, some of the stuff they talked about.
The proposal also addressed player and fan concerns about issues like service time and competition. Baseball would, for the first time, have a draft lottery, the most aggressive lottery in professional sports.
I don't like draft lotteries. I mean, and that's not because I have some scientific evidence. I like the idea of the worst team gets the number one pick. I think the bigger picture is to address the fact when teams are trying to adopt a tanking mentality or trying to adopt things, they're not fully committing to signing players long-term or making deals or making moves to make things happen. Look at the Rockies, for example. The Rockies just sat in neutral during a time where they had a competitive window. Does that mean that that they were going to get the next thing in the draft or from these things or to add into that? No, that's not how baseball works. It's very different than those other sports. But the Rockies didn't make any moves. The Rockies didn't do anything in free agency. This doesn't solve a tanking problem. I don't think a draft lottery is going to solve any tanking issues when there are teams that won't spend money, when there's teams that won't be active at the deadline. That's the bigger deal. The bigger deal is that the Marlins have this top farm system, but no one can hit. So are they going to actually trade any of this abundance of arms that they have? Are the Rockies going to do anything? Like, why did the Rockies not do anything to bolster their farm system and get return from Trevor Story and John Gray? So they were leaning on the draft pick compensation, but that doesn't make any sense. Because what if the Rockies, especially with the Rockies, what if they get a terrible pick in the draft, and their whole idea is draft and develop? I don't think the lottery and a robust lottery is the way to do it. I think, especially in baseball, there's already too many variables. Service time, I think, is way too high. I personally think that players should be allowed to explore free agency if teams aren't going to commit to them, especially the average player, the Raimel Tapias of the world. Would Raimel Tapia benefit? He's gotten a lot of playing time, so maybe he's not the best example, but I'm saying a player on his level, a player on that where free agency is going to be very interesting for Raimel Tapia. But with the amount of time and the amount of time he spent in limbo with the Rockies before he got the starting job, that's a lot of development time that could have been maybe better suited somewhere. I'm not saying it would have been. It's just for a player like Raimel. A player like that we're going to see in the center field. What are the Rockies going to do? How are you going to get Hilliard and Joe and Tapia and Charlie Blackmon and all these people? How are you going to get them on the field all at the same time? And those limited by service time and those contracts, it doesn't seem to me like that's always the best way for players to really to develop fully. And I think the shorter service time might make you more willing to kind of move pieces around. And like I was just saying, like trades trades should be a thing. And that's a huge source of power for the owners there too, is the fact that the owners will always own the team until they sell. Players, who knows where they're going to be and who knows how it's going to end up, how you're going to mesh, how you're going to gel with the next environment. There's all those factors. But when I hear like draft lottery and all that stuff, I don't know. I like this. I like the idea of rookie of the year and runners up getting that additional year of service time, but there should be more of those incentives. I think every player shouldn't have to be the best rookie out of the entire minor league system or the one of three of the best rookies. I think there needs to be more ways for players to get service time, for players to explore development opportunities. And I think that's something that hopefully will be explored. We'll see. Out of that part of the deal, I don't like a lottery. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't seem like it's very fair. And in reality, you need to make incentives for teams to spend money. You need incentives for teams to lock down players for 4 to 5 years. You need teams to be making moves like the Rockies did make this before the lockout. Re-signing Crone, re-signing Senza. Should have been re-signing John Gray. But again, those types of moves are good moves to commit to your players and to commit to allow them, players that have already reached their service time, to really become a part of your organization. But by handcuffing them so long, especially with in the Rocky situation where it's like we've asked about prospects over and over again, but they can't go anywhere because they got the service time. They can get traded, of course, but still, they can't explore free agency, which is the best option for some players. That's the type of stuff I'm looking for. And I don't think lotteries are the accurate way to handle drafts. I don't really think it'll do much in the ways of tanking as well. Let's rank the Rockies bullpen here. And I want to start by talking about some players that I'm really excited about and really think are going to be a massive benefit for the Rockies this year. The success of the bullpen will rely on a lot of things, but these two players I think are going to have a major role in it. And I'm going to throw a third in there, one that we've talked about a little bit before. But before we do that, got to tell you about our friends at Built Bar. Built Bar is the place to go when you are looking for a nutritious treat to get rid of that candy bar and start getting yourself eating something a little bit better for that snack time. And they got so many delicious options at Built.com. They got not only the Built Bars, but they got the delicious protein-infused puffs, all covered in 100% real chocolate. Low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bar with these. They are better. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. Listen, you can go to built.com and scroll down to the macros chart yourself. You'll be blown away because you're going to see how high protein, low calorie, high fiber, and low carb Built bars are. Most Built bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. And here's the cool part. They got so many delicious flavors. And if you're like me, you got that sweet tooth, this works out big time for you. The mint brownie, the coconut almond, and so much more. You can check it all out at built.com and save a little bit of money when you head to built.com when you use the promo code LOCKED15. That is promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. And I promise you, you're going to find something you love there at built.com and use that promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off at built.com. Also, got to tell you about our friends at Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain's auto parts stores to stock all the parts that your car or truck needs. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questions and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing only the brand their warehouse happens to carry? You got a computer, you got a phone, you have access to rockauto.com right now at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30%, 50%, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto parts needs. And when you head to rockauto.com right now and see all those parts available for your car or truck, right locked on in there, how did you hear about us box, so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. So I mentioned that there are 3 players that I am keeping my eye out for the Rockies bullpen and how it will stack up against the rest of the division. And that is Carlos Estevez and Tyler Kinley. Carlos Estevez was a really nice addition for the Rockies this year. As someone, obviously he's been with the Rockies his entire career, but I'm just saying that this year he was able to settle in and kind of and get much better as the season went on. When you look at his season, he was definitely he had some tough spots in June, but after starting a little rocky, he was able to settle down and become someone that the Rockies could rely on out of the bullpen. And what I was really happy about was the way that he finished the season, because Carlos Estevez, I think, should be the closer for the Rockies. If the Rockies aren't going to go out and get someone right now, I think Carlos Estevez is the right move to make. Let's look at September. In September, 12 innings pitched. He gave up 21 hits, which is a lot of hits. 8 earned runs and 8 home runs. That's something we got to watch out for. That long ball, you got to be careful about, especially when he comes off of the month before in August, only giving up 11 hits and no runs at all in the month of August. So Carlos Estevez has that ability to be really special. And again, I'm not terribly broken up by those. I just want those late long balls to be eliminated. Those late runs. He only gave up the 1 home run in the month of September. I was looking at the wrong column. It's just 8 earned runs. So only the 1 home run, really, something that he was able to limit there as he came down from July, giving up the 3. Estevez has really shown that he has been someone that can come in and slam the door for the Rockies. I think a little bit more sharpness, a little bit more of that confidence building in that role is going to be huge for Carlos Estevez. And he really, really shined. Like I said, that August is a great sign. And that September is really good as well. Like I said, you want to kind of see those that earned runs go down, but that's fine. That's not even the highest runs that he gave up in the year. That came in June. But June, he gives up the 10 earned runs with the 2 home runs, takes a 1 more increase, but limits the earned runs by 3 in July, then comes in, shuts the door in August, and has a September where he's only giving up 8 earned runs as well. So, he really was able to get better as the season went on in the second half, which was great. The Rockies pitching, especially in the second half, wasn't as good from the starters. So to have Estevez step up and be better in the second half was huge, especially because we all know how bad the bullpen was on the road last year, and just the Rockies in general on the road last year. But Estevez was someone that really stepped up and has shown some good promise. I think to be I don't think he's going to be the top closer in the league, but now I'm confident that the Rockies I'm more confident now sending Carlos Estevez out in 2022 than I was after watching about a month of Daniel Bard in 2021. And that's just briefly, because we've talked about Daniel Bard a lot. I love Daniel Bard in the setup role. I think this is going to be a really interesting year for Daniel Bard. If he still has good movement on his pitches and he can still throw some gas, I think he's going to be nice and solid in the 6th and 7th inning. Take off the pressure of being a closer, just getting yourself in a situation of just getting guys out and keeping your team in the ball game versus I need to win or lose. This is all on me. I think is going to be massive for Daniel Bard. Finally, Tyler Kinley was someone that the Rockies, were really getting some good production out of. And what I love about Tyler Kinley, strikeout numbers, double digits in both September and in August. August with 17 strikeouts, 12 strikeouts in the month of September. This is going to be an arm to watch. 11 strikeouts in June, 10 strikeouts in May, 11 strikeouts in April. Tyler Kinley is, I think, going to be someone that can get those nice swing and miss outs for the Rockies, and is going to be someone that will really the team will really benefit from. Again, September, only giving up three earned runs in 13 innings pitched, which is a nice decrease from his August, which is a nice decrease from his July, which is a nice decrease from his June. So if Tyler Kinley can get into that September mode and continue to strike batters out, he will be effective. When you look at the rest of the Rockies, or when you look at the Rockies compared to the rest of the division, again, I'm going to put the Rockies firmly in that 3-4 range. I don't think I'm going to probably put the Rockies number 4 in the division. We'll see what happens with the Padres, and we know what can happen with the Padres, and we know that the Rockies were successful against the Padres, especially against hitting against the bullpen. And the Padres have a lot of questions facing their lineup. The Rockies bullpen just doesn't have enough to give you that, whoa, yeah, that's the stuff type of thing. So I'm going to say, and of course the Diamondbacks, but again, just like I talked about yesterday with the starting rotation, there's nothing that I have on the Rockies that I believe that they have over the Dodgers and Giants at this moment. And it's certainly not coming in this area. So maybe an argument to put the Rockies number 3 again in bullpen, but I'm going to put the Rockies at number 4 in terms of bullpen ranking in the National League West. But this is something to be excited about. There's a lot of arms to be excited about. But if those 3 players are significant impacts for the Rockies, that's going to be a huge deal for the bullpen, especially with some of the other arms that are in there. But folks, I'm going to wind down this train here. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today. Thank you for making Locked On Rockies your first listen of the day. Go check out so many other great podcasts available on the Locked On Podcast Network, like the MLB Prospects podcast or Locked On MLB, to get more from your baseball minds here. But if you want to stay up to date with all things Colorado sports, about your number 1 Colorado Avalanche or the Nuggets, with maybe some players coming back, and of course, what the heck is going on with the Denver Broncos, you can stay up to date with all things Colorado sports with the Locked On Avs, Nuggets, and Broncos podcasts. All wonderful hosts there as well. But folks, I'm Paul Holden. You can find me at Paul Holden 33. You can find the show at LO Rockies on Twitter and Locked On Rockies on YouTube. I will be back with more Rockies talk real soon, tomorrow, right here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. And until then, I'm Paul Holden, signing off.